you and I were sort of talking a little bit off camera about this notion of major banks now divesting from fossil fuels. And this sort of started in the EU with the World Bank and then ING divesting from coal and fossil fuels. But then we saw it trickle into Canada. So HSBC has now said that they're not going to invest in any sort of oil sands energy projects. And last week, some wackadoodles in Seattle were protesting outside of Chase Bank to encourage them to divest from fossil fuels. And you were saying this is sort of a coordinated next step in the environmentalist attack on fossil fuels.
Yes, and you have to realize that this has gone on for a very long time. Like I think it was Rainforest Action Network, or RAN, or RAN as they call themselves. Back in about 2004, they did a big attack on banks. And there's a group that was set up in around 2003, I believe it was, called Bank Track. They rabidly hate fossil fuels. They're out of the Netherlands, and there are about 40 nonprofit NGOs that are all associated. And basically their mandate in life is to harass the heck out of banks and try and get them to not fund any fossil fuel projects. They certainly love to hate the oil sands. Most of the rabid material on their website is against the oil sands. They've recently really gone after coal. And we just did a report called Unfriend ENGOs, because these ENGOs are now attacking also the insurance companies. So if you can't finance your project and if you can't get insurance for it, you can't do business. Now, you know, as you said, this is not scientific. This is activism, pure ideological activism, because the world runs on about 80% fossil fuels right now, and the balance is maybe, you know, hydro and biomass and nuclear, with maybe 2%. Maybe 2% from wind and solar. For all the people who say, oh, tomorrow if we cut fossil fuels, we can just go to wind and solar. That's impossible. So these people are very, very dangerous to society because they're unelected, they're unaccountable, they have no regulations that they have to abide by, and they can say anything they want. They can do any kind of inflammatory protest and say anything they want that may or may not be true or may be wildly exaggerated. And, you know, we've seen that in the past over and over again, especially about the oil sands. And actually, when you look at it, it is a geopolitical green trade war against Canada.
That's an excerpt from my weekly full-length show, The Gun Show. On my show, I take on the issues of the day through my Alberta conservative lens, and I talk to the real newsmakers the mainstream media ignores. To get access to my show and all of our other premium content, click the link on the screen to subscribe today.